Hi Sarah, thanks so much for joining me here today to talk about the pathways to permanent residency and how they could support companies in retaining and attracting their talent.
Thanks Jane. Permanent residency sponsorship is a fantastic way to attract and retain skilled workers, and certainly in the current labour market, if employers aren't considering that, offering it, they do risk losing talent to their competitors.
Yeah, of course. I mean, from a very simple basis, if they're able to stay for longer in the country, there's more chance of them being able to be retained, which is a nice simple side of that. Sarah, I was really interested in understanding more about the role of the business when it comes to permanent pathways.
Yes.
In comparison to an employee just doing it themselves. And why is it that businesses get involved so much?
Yeah, look, we have seen an uptick in employees in the past few years asking their employer for sponsorship, and there's a number of reasons for that. The independent and the state government sponsored programs are highly targeted. They are competitive and invitation based, and they're points tested, and the employer sponsored pathways aren't points tested or invitation based. So there's a lot of employers that just aren't able to attain permanent residency in that competitive pool of candidates for those kind of visas.
And how can a business support an employee if they wish to look down this pathway?
There's a number of ways. The financial support would be an obvious one, but it could also be just through being engaged with your employee and making them feel supported with their visa plan, because it can be quite anxiety provoking. What is my next step and how am I staying in Australia from here? So just engaging with them and obviously having a policy around immigration and who the business sponsors and making that clear what that process is very helpful to your employees as well.
So I've heard there are some new pathways that have opened up recently. Can you tell me more about those pathways?
It's very exciting to see the government open up some new pathways for 482 visa holders. Those people that were here during the pandemic have now been offered a pathway if they're in the short-term stream occupation codes, whereas previously those codes weren't eligible to transition to the 186 permanent visa. So if they've spent 12 months here during the pandemic and they meet other criteria, then they may be eligible for sponsorship. There's also been an age concession come in for the legacy 457 visa holders. So applicants that held those old 457 visas can now transition without any age limit. But again, it's important to get tailored advice on that because there are other criteria that apply.
Yeah, of course. And every individual situation has got nuances to consider, so that makes complete sense.
Precisely, and every business and every industry and occupation is a bit different, so important to get some advice.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. It's really interesting to hear how the pathways to permanent residency are impacting and assisting businesses in being able to attract talent, but also more importantly, perhaps to retain that talent for as long as possible. So thanks so much for coming.
Thanks, Jane.